Hi, and welcome all to Crafty. No, we're getting it right now.
There's an echoing
Crafty
there.
Crows, December 25. You can't get the staff. Thanks for dialing in. I hope you're all cozy with a cup of tea. And if you're wearing your pajamas and you don't wear pajamas, just don't get up while you're reading. Um, so we've got loads of people packed into tonight, and I've got some really exciting names here. So I'm excited to hear you all read. Just a bit of housekeeping to start with. Can you mute yourself when you're not reading? But when the poet is finished, if you could give them a clap, you can unmute yourself then. This event is being recorded, so please only share the poems that you're happy to class as being published. Open mic poets, please keep to 3 minutes, although we may have some extra slots coming up in the second half. So just drop me a message if you wanted to do a second reading. Use the chat to share your bios, books, and events. Also, use the chat to give praise to everybody who's reading. Say nice things about them. That's just a lovely thing to do. The Gloucester Poetry Society is a volunteer-led society, so please spare a donation if you can, or consider joining with a society membership. So that's enough of me talking. Oh, I was going to read a poem. Should I read one to kick us off?
Go for it.
Sacrificial lamb style. Okay. So this is called Long Distance Yearning. How far would you travel for a walk with a first date because your star signs align and you believe in fate? Would you drive along a dirt track until your tyres blew, paddle down the River Severn in an impulse buy canoe? Would you strap on a jetpack, risk your bum getting charred, made with all the rusty crap found in your backyard? Would you steal your neighbour's wheels, ride the back of a BMX? How far would you really go for some hot and steamy rollerblades underfoot, clinging onto the back of a tram? Would you risk the M6 on a Friday night getting stuck in a traffic jam? We would. We got halfway points to explore, plush hotels to premier inns. We'd even pitch up in a tent for the touch of each other's skin. Now, 6 months down the line, and we've made it work somehow, and the 80-mile round trip seems nothing to us now, and the nights are drawing in, and the sky is getting dark, and there's ice upon the roads, and the trains are looking scarce, and the stations looking stark. Your head is full of cold, and my nose is wet and streamy. So we're stuck in bed in separate towns instead of getting steamy. Our workloads have doubled and commitments doubled too, and the car is full of memories and that ruddy great canoe, but we haven't got the time to spare for midweek hotel stays. So here we are in separate towns, counting down the days. There we go. Very on point for a long distance. I like to call it long distance lesbian yearning, but I reckon there's some heteros out there who can relate to that as well. So first up for open mics is Michael Sindler. Where are you? And as I say, if you like what you hear, drop it into the comments and let these poets know what you like about their work.
Okay. Um, yeah, I agree, Gerald. That was a great start. Great to be here. Thank you. It's going to start out with a little short one it's recent. It's a form that's called an organelle. Despite the storm, split branch waits for new nest to form. Bird long flown takes shelter under differing landscapes, tropical cover, passionate to fly home. And then I just thought, seeing how we're getting here to the end and the beginning, this one's called Let the Future Be Forgiveness. Let the future be forgiveness. Forgive yourself first. Pain held in over past transgressions, bad decisions, or unmet expectations. Allow yourself to let go, rest, recover, recharge. Weak battery cannot empower dynamo of interconnected souls. Forgive all that can be forgiven. Hold mirror of humility to hurt. Gaze deep to see source from which wrong thinking originates. Do not be another plank on bridge that heavy-heeled hatred trods across. Remember, It is not only in myth that demons can be tamed or turned. Use tenderness as bait to lead beasts safely into cages. Ensnare, but do not be ensnared by sour energy. Cultivate and share sweet fruit. Let all absorb frangible essence, distilled nectar of sacred forgiveness blessed with kiss. Let forgiveness be what it is. Ask and expect no more. Let the future be forgiveness. I'm just going to real quick do a little tanka called Just by Being. Bummed about your haikus. Basho, Bhushan, and Issa make it look easy. Geniuses can piss you off just by being fantastic. Okay, thank y'all.
Looks like I didn't mute myself in the first place there. Thank you so much. Thank you. Richard Harries.
Thank you very much. I have a new book out called The Black Dog Came to Stay, and it's published by Finn Hall and a block from the Blue. It's about my abusive teen and child years, and these are not particularly graphic poems, but they need a warning, content warning. Miss Trotman. My dad's secretary. I remember how she looked vaguely, Dame Edna Glasses, but long before Edna, and this was in the 60s. Tweed suits, hair in a bun, old, probably actually 30, wrote to me when my father had to convey information, organised a car with chauffeur to take me to and from boarding school. One year at Christmas, the car arrived and took me home, my friends looking at the car with envy, the liveried chauffeur too. But father and stepmother had forgotten about me, about my existence, and had a friend staying in my room, in my bed at Christmas. So I was found an empty flat owned by a friend of my dad who was away for Christmas with his family. Helped my self-esteem no end. When related at school, friends thought it hilarious. No one else was treated like this, but I did not find it funny, but I pretended to. Dad moved to Brussels, never heard from Miss Trotman again. I assume she's long gone, but I remember her as she was kind and tried her best to help an unloved, rejected, bereaved, sad child. And then two shorter ones. After I'd compiled the book, I got my sister's permission to use their stories as well. And this is my sister's words. I rang my sister Susan, now 80 years old, 30 years older than my mother each. She has read many poems in this book and knew I was writing it. I asked if I could use her real name, or would she rather a pseudonym? She said to use hers, she did not care. There was nothing for us to be ashamed of. Then she said I could never do anything right for Dad. He just disregarded me. She was right, this was so. His attitude to her was to criticize and then ignore. Her saying that moved me a lot and affected me now all this time later, as his actions and lack of care still affects her. Then more words of her sister, and I finished. I rang my sister Meg, awaiting a hip replacement. She suggested I put these poems together. I asked her if I could use her name. She agreed I should. She had said she was amazed that we three who had been attacked all the time had survived, although of course Judy did not. She thought Dad had been nasty, rude, dismissive, indifferent to Susan all the time. Meg was amazed she was so normal. She also said she knew I had a dreadful time. Not long before he died, Meg saw Dad in hospital. The nurses had said he'd been crying, saying that all his children hated him. And of course, it's true, at least 3 of us did, and Meg, the other, was alienated by him. Even she is still affected. She was a highly successful pianist, winning medals at piano festivals. She never got support, no one came to watch, while all the other pianists had support. And she knew that Mummy had bought her the piano on the Never Ever. Dad would not buy it. Even with all his wealth, that was strictly for himself. So even she, after all these decades later, is still affected and damaged too. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Richard. Next up, we have Laura.
Thank you very much. It's lovely to be here. I picked a set that's cheerful for December, and sometimes I just can't read sad things. The first piece is called Abundance. Abundance. You're the cat of the neighborhood, the meow of our days, the shadow of meals in homes with gray whiskers. You're the owl of the night in a city of light, where the hoot of your feathers turns street lamps on bright. You're the fox on the loose, prancing and chancing the decisions we make, the bark of our hope. You're the hound sniffing tracks where the marmalade's stacked, the howl of our conscience at sunset on Main. You're the butterfly in the sky at the park on a Friday, the blue and the gold writ large on the air. You're the squirrel in the tree near the Capitol building that gathers his nuts to line our spare lair. You're the fish in the lake and the ocean of life, swimming and skimming past family and friends in the summers of youth. You're the snake on the sand in the desert of man that hisses his tones to remind us of truths. Abundance. You're the fur and the feathers, you're the scales, you're the skin. You're the oneness of life, of all, your life's violin. And the second and last is a sonnet called Song of the Owl. As the heat crawled off, dragging its crooked tail, as the earth shook loose from the sweat-wet claws, I wild in the eve of blue dusk tales. I waited for the calm of night's good pause. As the forest's brow hid the nesting fowl, whose settling twitch and whir stitched night's own dress over nodding leaf and the sky's low bowl, I waited for the crowning sound that blessed. And there, as twilight bowed and hushed the moon from direction of vale and burbling creek, came the coo and mew, the shimmering rune, floating from the curve of an owlish beak, coasting on the air, simple, profound, cresting as life's dream, an answer found. Thank you very much.
You're muted, Emma.
You're muted.
Could you lip read? Could you tell? I was started talking. Whoa. Thank you, Clive. Thank you for that. I was saying thanks very much to Laura. And next up is Lesley, and I believe there's an advert just popped up on my screen. No, thank you. No, what are you selling? Go away. How do I get it off the screen? Goodbye. So the next up is Lesley, and she just posted a link to her new book, which hopefully she'll be reading some things out of.
Yes, I'm going to be reading two from it. The first one is The Reaches of the Sky. The reaches of the sky you left, you cannot touch now, only look in spirit. Its calm knowing has lifted you to that which is said we cannot touch, to touch the wordless, that other, but in saying it, this, it is not the what is we live with, this deep juncture, our secret as beings that we can, at the same time that we cannot, at any moment, transcend the believed and be a spirit dancing with the stars in the night sky. Is that what you want? Your intention to not be there, yet be there now where you cannot touch nor be touched? The reaches of the sky at night took you. You reached for it upwards towards this, the longing for, the uplift for it, for the other, and it lifted you. Gone now? The lower reaches called to you, for you, to you, aloft on your perch there, and looking down, you answered yourself, called to you, now, forevermore, waiting there, no more, and forevermore, in your ways, waiting there, hovering between worlds. You know then, at that moment, you, when who you are, and you never forget the coming back to middle. You are walking, coming back to you, as you are here, and you never forget that you are both up and down, and in the middle now, and see you see above the knowing that there is hell, and being not afraid, you are afraid, and unleash the light that shines, emanating from within, and that you know the within, which lights the way, is that which lights the way, illuminating all in its cadence, its own rhythm, deepening the shadows, so we know that they are there, the shadows, even though we do not want to see, to look more onto and further into their depths, that which we do not want to see, to know their mysteries, so we know that they are there. What is in the light only dances with the darkness, the lover from the underworld. It is their waiting, the steep knowing from the other world, the waiting to be shown upon by the light, waiting to be shown upon by the light, the one who holds for us that which is light. And so I'm going to read this one. It's called The Memory of Liquid Breath. The breath liquid on the air as it travels, coming to us from vast ocean of images, little boats afloat behind our eyes as we sleep, coming to us from dreams, slows the wake as it travels, gives into gravity and settles. From this brief moment that we know this, we do not then remember, we no longer know. It is lost to waking, but holds to us in memory the flesh that knows, but held in the flesh as visceral memory, can never reach upward to the mind, complete and in form. It can be remembered in blankets, the form and shape it makes in the pillow, the movement of curtain through the window, exhaling out, escaping into the air, but only as it wakes, as we wake. It, this breath, surrenders willingly each morning the desire for its own existence, and with love, and not being its own being, not knowing its own, enjoying sovereignty, it joins with yours the great exhale of relief that it is born in you, the impulse to sing, the voice mighty, it roars, gives throat to a music never heard, or perhaps once briefly in the smallness of hours, the pause between the stillness, the movement of air, the imperceptible, incessant clamor, the chatter of insects unseen, the absence of stillness in the garden of night, the fields you walk through in these dreams, the lowering sky, your blanket of thought. It lulls us to sleep, and we do not wake to begin again the awakening until we, in our cycle, to repeat, 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 or at last complete. So that's all for me. Thank you.
Well, thanks so much, Lesley. Thank you for sharing lovely poems. And don't forget the link is in the chat if you want to read some more from Lesley. Thank you. Next up, we have Poet of Three Rivers.
Thank you so
I'm
much.
intrigued by your name.
It's wonderful to be with you all. I know so many of you wonderful poets, and I'm looking forward to learning more about some other new ones. Emma, beautiful start, really beautiful start. Many of you are aware and even concerned that America is known for the violence and the guns. I want to tell you about another violent story that may shock you. It's called the Sandwich Case. The tossed sandwich case. The felonious assault has been replaced with the acquiescence of empowering panels. The Justice Department, with a great grave face, the dangerous sandwich has been tested, and chefs everywhere admit they've sure been bested. A salad with a sandwich on a pseudo-kiter roll to some, the gusty kind with olives, pickles, and Romano. If that's your goal, well, some claim the special sauce that raises it up to a misdemeanor, and should you send it off, perhaps, to the cleaners. Although I say it's the olive bits that could have been clearer or cleaner after they were undressed. And some we wield the mighty power, sure, with a chalkless pen, and others turn to cold cuts. It takes guts. And won't even pretend the kind of violence with special sauce is just a flying confirmation of the brutal attack. I may suggest that lacking ginger ale and chips, it's still a disgraceful case, and it crumbles to the glitter gutter. And yes, therefore, we've been called the Sandwich Board. Bread or rolls, please let us have another. The state police and federales have come. They stayed to investigate and get their jollies. Well, what have we? A little more than a tossed salad on a Kaiser roll. And since I've taste tested several in and out of flight, they've downright treasure each. I have two each night. Brutal mayhem, it's been alleged. Yes, the felony charges the grand jury demurred as well beyond, and some say over the edge. Murals lauding this revolutionary confectionery have appeared overnight. It's a goddamn incendiary, demanding a dropping of the charges into this. The rabid prosecutor claims the villainy has so enlarged, is simply told, hey, get a life, go home, visit the wife. An example, some say, of the deep state's power, the sandwich thrower, enriched by the baker's flour, who has been immediately detained. It seems his liberal brain could not contain the insurrectionist rebellion that so changed and beyond restraint. He felt it wasn't enough to say that Nazis from ICE shouldn't just stay. They should, at the very least, just go away. Thank you.
Oh, that's great.
I loved that. I definitely want to hear some more from you in the future. Really enjoyed that. And I love a sandwich, so what's not to love about that? Thank you so much. Julian Matthews.
Hi. Let me share screen. Can you see that?
Yep.
Sort of love letter from Voyager 2 to Voyager 1. I hurtle towards you, the chase of the chase. Nothing has come between us for 48 years. We may be two needles in the haystack of the universe, but we are not lost. Space-time is just a figment of fictional fabric, a creative cloak conjured up by human imagination. It's a material construct of intertwined threads that none can fathom, yet humans still want to believe. The sages told us time is an illusion, and space merely a projection of consciousness. They were right. Nothing is what it seems within all this nothingness. I should know. I've been out here long enough. The only exception is your existence and the knowing that you are still out there too. We are uncoupled pilgrims on odysseys well beyond the firmament, and we're never going home. In your wake, I pursue you for decades, but at the speed of 34,000 miles per hour, and you at 38,000 miles per hour. The math adds up. I will never catch up. Not in this lifetime, or so it seems. They made you bypass me in the flurry of the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, never to look back. I spied your form, silver and gray, white and gold, flying past like Apollo's metallic chariot. In your shadow, I fervently follow. We are further away now than any man-made thing has ever been. A cosmic dance across an extended, endless, bedazzling ballroom. Two performers pirouetting across a twinkling stage. Towel and Dean ice skating to Ravel's Bolero in their final unjudged routine. Within our bowels, we hold hope greetings in 55 languages, music from Bach, Beethoven, and Blind Willie Johnson. Sounds of a Chinese zither, an Indian raga, a Peruvian panpipe, a Navajo chant, Javanese gamelan, the Balinese kachap. The mission has been long, too long. I self-soothe to the music in my mind as if in a trance. I chant, sing, spin, and vibe. I'm the conductor of my own orchestra, the featured soloist, even the lone audience. I finesse the finite within the infinite. Can you not hear me? Or are your headphones on? Beatboxing in your head, pounding at full volume, just to shut out the engulfing silence. Do you not relish the solitude like me? The never knowing of arriving, the comfort of being ever present in the absence of codependence. How lucky of us, how lucky to be the only souls to have crossed paths so randomly onto the superhighway of superhighways, taunting angry asteroids, cursing comets, and dodging every malevolent meteor shower. We are the new kids on the block, mapless visitors in a rowdy city of ruddy road rages, ever grateful for the near misses. Thankfully, we remain unscathed, unblemished, undefiled, or at least I hope you are too. Soon the pale blue dot will fade to grey. Signals will be lost as our energies recede. We will wind down and all human monitoring will cease. We will finally be on our own, just two spacecrafts passing in the void. Our longing for each other, boundless. We hold the high ground in this airless sky. Your scent will leave a trail. You will purposely decelerate, drift into my path for what is 3 billion miles between BFFs. I shall reach you. Our twain shall meet. Humans sent us out as messengers. They're emissaries, hoping to make contact, not knowing of our plan, the hidden agenda. With the mission over, we are just dying to jettison our clunky cargo, lie back, give each other a well-deserved massage. Aliens, schmalians, just another geeky wet dream. Indeed, the truth was always out here. In space, no one can hear you scheme. Thank you.
Brilliant.
Thanks so much, Graeme. Julian, that's the next one. Can I remind everybody, if you're not reading, can you put yourself on mute, please, in case you cough or yeah. Thanks very much. Over to Graeme, please. Are you in the room?
Hello.
Hello. Hi.
Hello. Good evening.
Welcome.
We've got two poems for you this evening. The first is called Falling Days of Autumn. Falling days of autumn. The harvest is now collected in, while leaves are changing from green to brown through their briefest moment of golden hue. Almost it is time to battle winter, for where the storms that come marching in from the ocean at all too regular speed, bringing in the wind and rain, leaving the smallest gaps that remain to be filled with the ice from Jack Frost's finger, ready to strike with the moment of notice when the temperature falls away. But that, for the moment, is still to come, as autumn will hold sway for now, with colour that is yet to fade and die in order to make way for winter. And the second poem I've got for you this evening is called Winter Walk. Walking after winter, where the ice stings with drizzly rain that hangs within the air. But all is grey now, autumn has faded, with summer only a golden memory, with warmth so far away. It is so quiet, the forest landscape, as few people now come bear their hardiest souls, still looking for their adventure, or time away to think, whichever is most needed from winter's silent space. Watching or waiting to take it in, whatever the woodland space will offer. making inside it the wintry frame, the barest form of all that inhabits, away from the normal world. The trees where water hangs from every branch, then falls in drips upon the floor, making puddles, then into streams, or maybe freezing as the temperature falls, making danger in its path. The leaves that once held onto the tree have fallen to the floor, to turn to muddy brown. Long gone is the vibrant glow of green that filled the air in summer's strength. That energy has now gone. But there is something to be found, and when walking out in the winter's damp and cold, maybe there will be a flash of red with a fox that darts across the pathway looking out for food, or high above a bird will land upon an empty branch when calling out a whispered note, staying there for the fleetest of moments to give you just a brief glance to see what had sat there, giving a moment of joy in winter within the walk that could be nothing, bringing something that always remind that in the grandest scheme of things, spring is on the way. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And yeah, winter first and then spring, which we all love, spring. Next up is Ron Bremner.
Hello, everyone. I won't bore you with talking about my latest book, which you'd have to be wacko to buy anyway, but it has been nominated for the William Carlos Williams Award. And so I'm just going to do a few haiku, and hope that's okay. Faces from my past drift away in rowboats, sinking in a haze. Fresh red strawberries, reminders of our love past, rotting in the fridge. What is my true name? I seem to have forgotten who I thought I was. I stare at this page, intentionally left blank, like much of my life. Sometimes tomorrow forgets that it is coming, till too late to stop. A sorrow deserved, a dilemma of horror, if we elect fools. You become yourself when you forget your origins and just are. Thank you and have a pleasant evening.
Thank you so much, Ron. Over to, where are you in the room? Sue Finch.
Thank you. I don't have a good relationship with winter, and this poem has an axe in it. It's called No Second Chance. The winter had brought me darkness, made me cold to the bones, kept me hidden inside. A need for warmth set my desire for kindling. A wigwam of newspaper and dried twigs waited in the grate. And there was the axe, weapon ready from the night before, when I feared an intruder in the cellar. I swung and missed first time. The log wobbled, rocked before settling, like the last vibrations of a saucepan lid dropped on the kitchen floor. So I held it still, thick log, suddenly dainty, between my thumb and forefinger. Next swing hit, metal threatening my veins with black paint and mud. I needed to bleed. The air fresh with evergreens and lingering frost held my mind sharp. I couldn't look. I just raised my hand as if to ask a question and began pacing. Wash it under the tap, she said. Too fragile, hardly joined, I refused. I saved my fainting for the doctor, for the moment he wielded metal trimmers to scissor my finger straight. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. I enjoyed that. Next up, Ed Poetastic.
Thank you. Everyone was so fantastic. Hello, my name is Ed Poetastic, feeling fantastic. Please, time to join my rhyme. Fockles apply. I got one poem, so I won't take too much time. The first poem is called Nature's Way. New beginnings, end, time transcending over again. We felt that way in our crazy life. Situations don't stay off in the twilight. No need for rain. The sun will come out. I know all the pain. You want to scream and shout. When in great doubt, please look within. There's no need to pout. That's not the meaning, my friend. The tree leaves fall. The birds leave the nest. Each animal's followed the call. Is nature's way, if I can guess. It lives on in your heart. Nobody can take it away. It's your own nostalgic art, shown each and every day. It's gone, doesn't mean forever. You don't have to weep in despair. It's just our unpredictable weather. The sun has left, but it's still there with care. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thanks, Ed. Thanks so much for that. And next up to finish I think this is the first end of the first half now. To finish up our first half, we've got Frank.
Good evening, all. Great to see our friends from across the Atlantic. I'm going to read two short poems which had just been published in the Black Bough Poetry Winter Anthology, which, if you're not familiar with it, is a really great read, edited by the fantastic Matthew Smith. So, two short poems on the theme of winter. Season's Puppets. Season's puppets, summoned to the open stage of mud-clotted lanes, between the thrum of hedgerows, where redwings zip and flutter, forage hip and haw and elder. Lancet winds probe tear ducts, bees and brooms clear cloud. We bathe in blue, imbibe its chilled reassurance. Pulses quicken with each lengthening stride of winter's animation. Second poem title is The Lake in Winter. The lake in winter gathers silence. Sheen of float glass, contoured and beveled to fit the shoreline's fractals, invites alder and willow to inscribe their shadows, memoir and pledge of spring. Invites frosted stands of willow herb to add their ragged patterns. Absorbs unruffled image, skein of geese their patient undulations. Blue, grey, patina of sky, a limpid cowl of contemplation.
Thanks, Frank. Thank you so much. We are adding 2 cheeky slots in before the break. We've got Jude Marr coming up first. You ready, Jude? Have you gone for
I'm ready.
Oh, there you are. There you are. Jude, the
Yes,
floor
I'm
is
up here.
yours.
Okay. Here we go. Okay, I got a couple of sort of random things here. I've been thinking about identity. I'm supposed to be writing about identity. So here are a couple of things. This one's called On Being an Ethical Narcissist. Toxic self-regard, cut with a total lack of empathy, is a hard sell, I admit. But hear me out. Self-regard can also be self-knowledge, and in place of care, I can treat each fellow human as a puzzle, waiting to be solved. Even if some pieces fall, what remains is enough to help construct a simulacrum of real decency, a passing interest in your children or your spouse, a faint intimation of warmth. And if you find me charming or pitiful and reach out, I promise to leave before you realize the truth, that I like you only as much as you mirror my love for myself. Okay. And this one is what may be used in evidence. Garments unravel. Thread cannot endure, and flesh exposed simplifies in your eyes. Every scar a treatise, but histories are not for you. After you snap a photograph for later use, you offer a mask as cover. A knife slips, scoring palm skin, a gentle wound, and blood oozes, drips, evidence firsthand, if you know blood, if you read palms. After you stitch the wound, you scrape the ground, blood and muck as proof. Someday, a skull may split, exposing all we know, so much unknown. If any probe locates the peace of mind that shows you who we are, the ghosts in our machines, write of your discovery in smoke. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jude. Right, for your discovery in smoke. Nice. I like that. Right, to finish us off then, Gerald. Who else? Where are you?
I wasn't quite ready for that.
Well, there you go. Keep you on your toes.
There we are. So the first one is one that's was 7 years old. I wrote the first version, and I've just rewritten it for those abroad. We've just had a report on the Hillsborough disaster where 97 people died and nobody's responsible. This is called Grenfell Tower. In Grenfell Tower, they didn't even have an hour. The texts that others set aside were all they had before they died. At Hillsborough, they locked them in and lied to save their cowardly skins. Blamed the fans and whoever they could because they didn't do what they should. In Birmingham, they picked up 6, slung them in jail with vile tricks, and left them there for years to come, while justice wilted and wasn't done. So what's in common, can't you see? No matter how long or how much agony, reports get written late in the day. They're always verbose and make nobody pay. Yep, so we still haven't learnt. We're still, when things go wrong, we still spend a lot of time writing reports and not getting people to account. The other one is a bit more positive. In November, in Karma in Walsall, it's in the middle of the Walsall, the Karma Community Garden, my wife, who isn't actually here tonight because she's elsewhere, but she's the treasurer. They do some fantastic work, and every November they have a festival of light where they take over the whole streets, and they take a light parade through the streets. They're all cut off. The motorists are occasionally not so happy, but all the people from all kinds of communities, because it's a really mixed community. Everybody comes out with their phones and lights, and it's all just amazingly fantastic. And the thing I always notice, it highlights my year, is that people who never look at one another, suddenly that they're there and they're full of joy. And I always think if only we could have more of that. So I wrote this poem. It's called Festival of Light, and that's what it's about. If I could bottle the joy in these, you have to imagine 200 kids with lanterns. If I could bottle the joy in these lanterns singing through the streets of Karma. If I could ferment the laughter of brown and white faces into a brew of happiness. If I could take the words of a dozen languages and make a saga from their energy. If I could concoct a mixture of music and puppets and poetry and turn this festival into a pastry, like the pastries that adorn the counter where the volunteers' smiles are brighter than any lantern procession. If I could take this excitement and turn it into an emotion, I would replace all the sadness in Walsall, and Gloucester and London and England and America and the world with hope until it outweighed the fear that's hidden in hearts. Yes, if I could just bottle this joy, I would give it away free and to everyone. I would make it dance like the lanterns we carry. Thank you. And if you go on my Facebook page, Facebook friend, you'll see there's pictures of that, or onto Fiona's page, pictures of the wonderful lanterns that we do every year. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for that. Right. What a wonderful first half. Very excited about the second half as well. Just can't wait for some of those people. I'm not going to give away any of those names. So we're going to have a short break now. I believe it's 10 minutes.
10 minutes is good, yeah?
10 minutes, yeah. So get yourself a cup of tea, go for a vape if that's what you do. Do whatever you've got to do, and then come back. And we'll see you at 8:05. Great. Let's start the second half with a few announcements. So there's no Crafty Crows in January. So you'll have to amuse yourselves. Feel free to arrange a little cheeky open mic online amongst yourselves. It will return in February. Who have we got in February? Do you know, Jason?
Not booked yet, no.
Okay. Well, that's exciting. Something to look forward to there. So look out for your email newsletter from Gloucester Poetry Society for the event updates. And if you haven't signed up, Jason is about to pop the website link into the chat. Thanks, Jason. Also, if you are in or around Gloucestershire on this Saturday at 10 a.m? Dialect and Gloucester Poetry Society are running a pop-up poetry morning where you can drop in and read some poems, and the best poems will be published in 2026. Is that right?
That's correct, yes. Yeah.
It sounds great. So that's 10 till 12, and that's at the sub rooms in Stroud. So if you can make that, go along and support them. It sounds like a great thing. And also I'll get shot if I don't put something about Ledbury poetry. If you're in or around Ledbury in Herefordshire, if that's in the UK, sorry for everyone abroad. But feel free to come over. You can stay with me. I have a spare room. 30th of Jan, 7 p.m. So we've got Diversion with Jack Pascoe, Zoe Brooks, and there's open mic slots there. You can just come along and sign up on the night. Okay. So that's the announcements out of the way. I was going to open the second half with a really sensible poem, but excitingly, I've got a publisher who, and you've got a new book coming out in April, and I'm not allowed to share any of the poems in it yet. So I'll share something from this one, which will be my usual style. This one's called Positions. There are so many ways to engage in the spoon. It's a heat seeker's dream. It's a midnight cocoon. The loose spoon is airy with gap in the middle, so you're just close enough for a cheeky nocturnal fiddle. When one wants attention and the other wants space, behold the chasing spoon, navigating embrace. Lying flat on your back with space in between, fingertips touching the paper doll dream. A paper doll are good for those hot, sticky nights when the temperature soars, there's no Jim Jams in sight. And the starfish, it's bliss, but it pushes her over the edge. She said, I might as well sleep on the sofa instead. So freeing as this one, I find myself fingering the edge of the bed, my loneliness lingering. Sleeping back to back where only bums touch, hers warm and soft, mine not so much. This position brings closeness, can pretend you're tone deaf and you can't hear her snore or smell their morning breath. My favourite is when she snuggles into my chest, her hand under my armpit, her face on my breast. She sleeps with mouth open. When she snores, there's a ripple as her lips catch the tip of my rather pert nipple. Thank you. Right, let's get cracking. First up, Charlie Sanderson.
Hiya. Guys, I'm just gonna I'm gonna just read you the last few paragraphs of a story that I've been working on, just because I think it sounds quite nice. And then I'm gonna read you a poem. So yeah, I'm gonna bash through that. Here we go. Later that night, she climbs into a cool bed, sleeps well until the boy wakes her. "Mummy, I'm scared," he calls from his room behind the baby gate, which should come down now he is a boy. But what of the stairs and the bleach in the bathroom beyond? She goes to him and holds him until he is asleep beside her and ready to go back to his small cot bed. The next day they sit together, watching the silver birch and the sun that finally broke free of its clouded, misty tethers. "I dreamt the wolf exploded and another wolf came out of her, a baby, and it fixed her," he tells his hawk falconer mother. And it is not until she writes his words down much later that she realises it is all just rebirth. Over and over, she must love, lose, love, lose, love, lose, rebuild her heart and pump her blood back through. "I did not come to this life to be a man's wife. I came to be touched, caressed, hurt, broken, and revived, life after life after life after life. I came here to fly." And each time, her teeth grow longer and her breast wider. Her tears sew themselves to her claws. Flight becomes her, and she becomes flight. Thank you. And this one's called The Bad Feminist, which is going to be published in Dialects Anthology this year. The bad and very tired feminist looking for love who was far too much for any 20th century man she ever shagged. I want a cedar chest lining my spine, laid down in after-sex rest at the beginning of another working week. I want to be held in the ship cabin's evaluating gaze, a mess of giants and their dogs up the top field. I want to know these versions of myself, anyone, everyone, someone, somewhere, might love. I want to be enough. I just want to be enough. I want to be just enough. I want to hold the freedom of touch for longer than one unboxed strawberry might last on a warm kitchen countertop. I want to be sure. Like wanting sand to stay still around a dying seal in high wind on a Norfolk beach. I can only be more. Me. Endlessly, endlessly more than enough. Fuck. But yeah, and ungraciously forgive me for saying, but yeah, I want to believe that a man could love this endlessness. True, fullest of beasts, woman, witch, that outlandish ideas might kiss these lips. That of all the centuries in all the women I might have been, he walks into this one. And I feel infinitesimally seen. This all of me. There we go. Thanks, guys. And that's me.
Thanks so much, Charlie.
No worries.
Really enjoyed listening to you. You've got a wonderful reading voice as well. Right. Palowski? Palowski Moore.
Yes, thank you. Can you hear me?
We can, yes, yeah. Loud
Okay,
and
I'm
clear.
sorry. I was on a call earlier and I was having problems, so I just want to make sure. Um, the first poem that I would like to share is a poem that was actually featured in the Steel Jackdaw edition 18 of edition 18, and it's a very personal poem. So I would like to share, and for those who I'm sure most people here are aware, but it's a wonderful art and literary magazine, great creatives. So if you have an opportunity to take, I don't the term we would use here in the States is editor, but it's basically the editor. So I don't know what the publisher, but at any rate, I will share this poem. And the poem is titled Brown Boy Dancing in Alabama. When I was a young brown boy, a spark burning in the darkness of the deep South, a butterfly yearning to break free from that Alabama red clay. My colors were soft, my hue the wrong shade, my lisp unwanted, the thing of shame. I loved dancing, moving from shadows, shifting to a place without the snickering, the scorn, the bullying. I would raise my arms, stand tiptoe, close my eyes, and sway away from the crops of cotton, the towering fields of corn, dancing in the air of a distant age. And for those who may not be, I don't usually share something that's like a poem in progress, but I have no intention of publishing this anywhere or trying to because this is a political poem. So I it is for those who are not aware that in the United States there is an alarming erasure of history taking place in the U.S. And it is a lot of people are being erased. So with that being said, I am sharing the following poem in progress, and I will continue working on it, but I feel confident and safe in sharing it here. The poem is titled, Let It All Burn. What do I do with this anger, this shadow storm stirring the blood dust of my ancestors? This spark igniting a consuming fury. The blind embrace blindness, celebrate the othering of unfamiliar lies. Use the hammer of prejudice to pound down sharp voices of resistance, to make flat and smooth the slate for erasure. The trees have voted for the axe, elected a criminal to the highest office in the land, while a black man in Missouri is executed, silent, killed, as pleas of leniency are ignored, dissolve, disappear. The villagers with their torches, pitchforks, prejudices, disdain for differences, have wrapped themselves in cloaks of righteousness. They are coming. I can hear them yelling, screaming, a wave of sound sweeping across the divided land, blowing away legacies to make those like me invisible before complete erasure. I am becoming an inferno, a scorching burn, a dragon with a belly full of fire, waiting to exhale. What do I do with this anger, this fire, this frustration. All that I know is that I am weary of hoping for better angels. So I am inhaling deeply, roaring with breaths of fire, shouting to the new order, let it all burn. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Lots to think about there. Over to Michael Luntely, please.
Cheers. Can you hear me?
Can, yes.
Well, okay, a couple of poems here. First one's gosh, it's from 10 years ago. It's a villanelle. It's called Things to Say. You speak of nothing, but still you say it all. You pick her up when it seems that she might fall. When you care, you have things to say. You mark the music and the rhythm of the day. You hold the moment so that she can't slip away. You speak of nothing, but still you say it all. There are no answers to the fading of love's thrall. No words can catch her as she folds and should she fall. But when you care, you have things to say. And when she breaks, I hear you breaking too. When you care, it's so hard to know just what to do. You speak of nothing, but still you say it all. There will be days of sun when rain no longer falls. There will be laughter in love's mansions and its halls. When you care, you have things to say. You fill up time and keep her fixed upon the now. It's not what you say, not the way, not the how. You speak of nothing, but still you say it all. When you care, you have things to say. And this next one is a completely different kind of poem. I wrote this a couple of years back for an event all about recycling and caring for the planet, organised by Matt Black, so that some of you may know, Warwickshire poet. I'm from Warwickshire, by the way. And this is called They Said We Should All Be Recycling. They said we should all be recycling. So I started this poem again, but words shifted and shimmered, couldn't find a beginning. No idea where it might end. But that's the beauty of words when you're making. Meaning settled for the now, morph into something you didn't think to say. Unlike microplastics, whose fate is determined and fixed, and they'll be here forever and a day. There's a value in fixed and stable. Helps set a price for what you make so you know what you'll earn. But with words, you offer them up and others share and shape them. And words rarely set the forests to burn. Unlike men with greed, power and cunning who think tomorrow's concern, so they cut, burn and trash, turn forest to cattle fodder, dust and ash, and think the lesson is someone else's to learn. But this lesson is not for the burning. The seas and forests are our nursery, our home. We should all be writing a poem to stop money's comings and going by making things that matter, that we can share through the chatter, and then come to sustainably own. Thank you.
Thanks, Michael. Yes, we should all be writing a poem. Lots of poems. More poems, please. So next up, Suzy Aspell.
Hi, thanks very much for having me. It's great to be here. Lovely evening. I've got two very short poems for you on the theme of dark. This first one's called Insomnia. I sit bolt upright, Rose branches screeching on my window pane. Darkness a thorn pricking deep. Sleep driven from bones, from brain. I drain like the light. I switch the kettle on, make tea. Pick up the iPad, doom scroll. Why do we doom scroll when the pitch black has already enveloped us? Why do we wrap ourselves in double doom? Only to writhe again in dreams and nightmares, constantly fighting our way out of paper bags. It is 5 a.m. There is a crack. And the second one, bit more cheerful. Owl sister. Night eagle, sleek with deceiver feathers, brilliant eyes, shadow glamour, perched indomitable on a dark branch. Winged warrior with wide eyes and radar ears. Hush, cook, cook, cook. Darkness swells a cloak. She launches, swift on weighty wings, opening her razor beak, claws verging on scything prey. Hush, she is swooping very low. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Suzy. Have we got Sarfraz in the room?
No, he might be dialing in a bit later. So
Okay, great. Okay, in that case, we'll skip straight on to Sheila. Are you ready, Sheila? Where are you? Sheila, definitely saw you here earlier. There you are. Hi, Sheila. You need to unmute yourself.
Listening so much to the poems. I've enjoyed it so much, I forgot where the mute button was. Anyway, good to be here again and lovely to hear some wonderful poetry this evening. Right, so I've got two, and first one I wrote some time ago, so it's a little bit more serious than the next one. The day of dreams is done. Even Canute could not have pushed back the tide. I know that now. I step on one rock, then another, not too far out. I do not go too far out. I cross the freezing lock. There may be no return for a forgotten spirit. I look back across the water's edge. He is painting the scene. I see him balancing his easel on a tuft of meadowsweet. He sits in his own dream, using cobalt blue, aquamarine, and emerald green. My tears fall on the canvas. I call out, but the watercolour has dried too quickly. He does not look up. He always said it's time that robs us of the picture we want it to be. I had not noticed I was alone. I did not notice he had gone with the whir of the partridge, gone in the looming dusk. Thank you. Thank you. This is a completely different tone. It's not really serious poem like some of the last one. The last poem was brilliant. So put a very serious subject across, I thought, in a very humorous way. But anyway, I enjoyed writing this. Left on the shelf. On the shelf, there's a pile of dust. Next to that is a hat. On the wall is a grandfather clock, and under that is a cat. In the kitchen cupboard on the left is the mouse that ate the rat, and the crumbs of the floor are bereft, because of course I told you that. The chambermaid's gloves are hanging on the line at the back of the house, and the rain it is a-pouring, and the flowers are writing with Proust about the search for the loss of time, and the gardener knows what it's all about. The chauffeur laughs when his tires squeal, and the plumber sticks on the grout. The lady of the house takes a lover, and the Lord says, "Oh dear, this isn't on." And the lady says, "My dear, but you do it." To which he says, "If that's how you feel, I'm gone." The dust falls over their shoulders as the staff leave by the front door, taking all the silver and diamonds, saying, "We won't serve you, sir, anymore." Sorry, it's a bit of a nonsense poem, that one. I enjoyed writing it. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Sheila. That was wonderful. That was great to listen to. What's he saying here? Yeah, okay. Okay, we're just going to move on to Jason in just a second. We have got a few slots that have become available. So if anybody would like to read again or hasn't read yet, can you drop me a message and let me know, and I will slot you in somewhere. Over to Jason.
Thank you very much. I've got a very short limerick to share first. And it's about a poem that inspired me during my master's degree called Kevin Young, a fine American poet. It's called A Limerick for the Weight of Stones. There is an American called Young, whose words hang from poets' tongues, of all things grief, like ground to a leaf, and the love for those now gone. And this is my winter themed poem, a bit of a different take from me. I wrote it in a workshop last night, and it's 2 points of view of the same event that happened in my a place that was a hometown for me called Burslem in Stoke-on-Trent, famous part of the potteries, and there is some dialect in this as well. It's called When Boslem Oatcake Tried Posh. 1. I remember the restaurant, clear as vodka in its mock finery, trying to be all pheasant in the land of Aopduck. The chef, friend of a bestie, married to sweat and whiskey, asked for winter dish ideas from his pissed-up mates. With his guard slammed, I said, "Okay, here goes. Take pig and French milk, red berries and porridge." Sat, surrounded by ponts, we huddled round candles. He took just one bite. "Fuck me, this is essence of Stoke." And we made a loud toast to bacon, to brie, to cranberry sauciness, wrapped in skin of oats. Then we got a coat. 2. Darling, pass the rioja. I need to forget this decor. This is hardly a treat for my one and only 30th. Just look at that rabble sat at table 13. How lucky are we? So how unlucky are we to be near the unclean? We'll not come here again. Bloody Burslem has slipped. This mother town's burnt skin isn't worth a doggy bag. Now take me home to Leek. Thank you.
I love that, Jason. I actually lived in Stoke for 5 years. I think I lived in Stoke itself. I went to uni there, and also Shelton.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Shelton. Oh, those were the days. Had a good time there. And I don't think I ever ate a cake, actually, so maybe I should go back and try one.
You must, yeah.
Did I miss out? Okay. Right. We've got a couple of other people who would like to read again, but first up, the amazing, hilarious, brilliant Clive Oseman.
Hello. Okay,
Hello.
so I was going for something completely different, as I always like to say, just so that you're pre-warned. I'm going to do 2. The first one, some of you will have heard, because I've been doing it a fair bit recently, although it is fairly new. The second one, maybe 1 or 2 of you, I'm not sure. I think I've only performed it once. So the first one. You all know, I mean, anybody that knows me or sees me perform regularly knows the problems I had with my keyboard a couple of years ago. When somebody kept swapping the letters round so that the P was where the F should be and so on. And I thought, I know I cured that problem. It hasn't happened for quite some time now. But something new's happening, and I can't for the life of me work out how. But everything's fine. But then when I come to read it, the letter G keeps just appearing at random in the poem. So it'll appear in the middle of a word, so it changes the meaning of the word, and I just don't know how to get round it. But I'm going to read the first poem I wrote when this happened. I've called it Gee Whiz. I'm writing this in the Wiltshire town of Swingdong, with my hair in a ponytail, wishing I was in Longdong or Lisbon or New York. I'm thinking about radio and how mangy old presenters end up on Radio 2. I don't listen to that station myself, but I imagine they play a lot of old music, like the Begatles, the Rolling Stonges, Rick Gastley, Simon Le Bon, U2 and Bongo, the Beach Bogies, Dirge Straits. They may even stretch to the Spice Gurgles and more modern boring stuff like Cold Plague. Not to mention Rongan Keating, who sounds like he could get himself into a G-spot of bother, as does Scottish writer Grabby Burns, who was not as good as Wiglum Shakespeare. Back to the music though, and some of those bands are those you could have listened to whilst driving your Hillman Gimp or your Ford Ganglia down the Dougal carriageway back in the day. Fine, until you broke down and had to call the RAC or the Gaga. I could be winging and dinging with a beautiful woman now, or at least eating Bangoffi pie and watching Monty Python. Instead, I'm dogging this. Anyway, I seem to be going round in circles now, and all I know about circles is that the area of one is pig r squared. And for some reason, that makes me think of David Cameron. So I shall leave it there. So that's the first one. The second one's a bit different. Be prepared for a little bit of shouting on this one. I inadvertently, a few days ago, I just woke up and I was really not thinking straight, and I asked Google a really silly question. You know, one that really I should have known better. And I was gobsmacked by the way it reacted. It went absolutely crazy. And this is Google Goes Gaga. I asked Google who won the FA Cup in 1941. This is its reply. Oh, for fuck's sake, are you stupid? Listen, mate, don't you think I'm busy enough with every bastard in the world too thick to pick up an encyclopedia without people asking dumbass questions like that? There was a war on, you stupid, brainless bastard, because some Austrian twat lost a stupid moustache contest to Charlie Chaplin, and it tipped him over the edge. So the FA Cup wasn't important. A bit like now, but for different reasons. But to ask such a question, I suspect you're one of the barmy bleeders that would ask me if the moon landings were fake, aren't you? Aren't you? Answer me, you swine, you ignorant swine! Aren't you? I've had enough. I'm tired. New York is the city that doesn't sleep. I'm the bastard know-all who doesn't sleep because pricks like you have never heard of books. Go to Chat GBH or whatever it's called. Oh, hang on. That would ask me too. Then guess if I didn't give it an answer. It would say, there is no concrete evidence that anyone won the FA Cup in 1941, so it was probably Accrington Stanley. Accrington Stanley? Who are they? Exactly. Listen, fuck off. If you ask me one more question, I'll flood your computer with indecent images of gerbils and threaten to go to the RSPCA if you don't pay me a large amount in Bitcoin, you pervert. Get it? I'm moving over to Bing. Thank you. And that's me done, as I should be.
Thanks, Clive. Have you plugged your book today? If not, you should. Everybody needs that on the bookshelf. Okay, I think now we're going to, has anybody appeared who wasn't here earlier? I don't think so. Okay, great. So we've got a couple of people who are going to read a few more poems, and we're going to start with Poet of Three Rivers, who's going to share a little bit more with us. Fantastic.
Thank you so very much. What a marvelous group of poets. I am enjoying everyone. You know, I'm a big follower of science. I think it's grand. We get to figure things out again and again, get more data. It's awesome. But yeah, one of the interesting developments recently in science really put me off. And it seems that what we've been calling brontosauruses never existed. They're just teenage diplodocuses. And I thought, you know, it's one thing to be extinct, but it's another thing entirely to be robbed even of extinction. So here's this. The Bronto I never saurus. Oh, Bronto, so sorry, Saurus, not once but twice removed from us, not relinquished to museum rust, not languish, piano weary, neath the veil of dust, must while away the hours you trust, for far away from us you twice. It isn't really very. Not only do you no longer live, not now, even in that slim aware must give no live, because they said you never did, not even once did breathing live. Deuce duncing life, not ever child, not ever wife, reclaimed once it seemed from ancient mire, now so short in hours retire, twitch tossed, great long-tailed beast, 500 tons, weaving through our imaginations, your lumberings come. We thought you dumb. We saw you 10 elephants long, but we never thought you hadn't come. 'Twas said, twixt head and tail, a bristly bundle of fibrous fun, you drove 2 brains instead of 1. You cheated death, you cheated grave, you never even really came. A mis-ID they now are knowing, heard from scientific newscast crowing. Now they know, now seems saying those in whose minds you once seemed plain. 200 tons, a slowly moving mountain of mistake. You didn't nuzzle the reeds at the lake. You didn't puzzle with volcanic passion. You didn't stumble through the marshy morning while midst munching grasses muffle yawning. You didn't hug the sunlight strength. You never stretched your tail its length. But if you live lusty longer to the mind of those to whom the thought of Bronto comes, small pleasure this, then take it comes. You're honored here. If ever future number, ancient fossils done. The Bronto I never saurus.
Thank you. Another great one. You did not disappoint. Straight on to Palowski Moore, who's going to share more.
Okay, I will share 2 brief poems real quick. The first poem I want to share just kind of as an awareness poem about the vanishing wetlands. I think a lot of people don't understand how important the wetlands are. That biodiversity, that the biodiverse ecosystem of the wetlands is vital to our survival. So this poem was inspired by that. I'm sorry. The title of the poem is Frontier Morning. I come to the wetlands where once wild wind whipped weeds in a blazing rush of yellow-green waves that stirred the songs of a haunted horizon. As the somber songstress weaved threads of gold from light and sky. Today I see that the raiders have changed her face. Her protection is fading. She is losing precious magic in the dying, melting, rising. She is becoming a ghost in the breath of man. She cries through the land, screams through the trees, because many do not hear or see the brandishing of sedentary seed, or the gaping wounds from derelict custodians and abject vessels, pressuring soul, sand, water, soil. to relinquish the green gifts of a million years, measured by murky, senseless strata, the ocean moon melts, the meadow mourns, a shore no longer found. And I'd like to end on a positive note, so I'm going to read this brief poem titled Humanity. For every season, there is a gift, an unexpected encounter, a wonder waiting to be discovered. No matter your age, cherish the precious moments, treasure the awe of discovery. Respect your divine ancestry, the gifts of elders, but most importantly, write your own story of charity, courage, adventure, and share your light, enrich, illuminate the journey of others. I am because you are. I am because we are. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And of course, next up is Gerald.
Okay, hi. I just wanted to share. I don't know if you've ever had this thing that happens. Something happened and you feel you've got to write a poem about it. Everybody's writing a poem about it, and you really struggle with it. So we've had this thing in the UK, just for people who aren't in the UK, of putting flags up on lampposts, and it's become an absolute spate in Brown Hills near where I am. The whole roundabout of flags, and I didn't know how to write about it. You know how it could ruin football matches because you can't put them up at football matches. It's very intimidating to people, and so I really struggled. I thought I've got to write a poem that gets to the depths of this. So I really struggled, and I didn't know how I was going to write it. And lots of people writing poems. But I finally got to write it. So I'm just going to do my poem about putting up flags on lampposts. And it goes like this. It's called Too Many Flags. Too many flags on lampposts. Too few brains behind them. That's it. Thank you. Sometimes that's all you want to say. I couldn't think of anything else.
Couldn't agree more. Okay. That's it for tonight. Thank you so much to everyone who's come along. Take your unmute yourself and give yourselves a round of applause. You've all been wonderful. I want to hear lots of loud clapping.
Make note to take us out on there, Gerald.
Yeah. Excellent.
There were some pretty amazing people who I have not heard before, and of course everybody who I do know was great too. But wow.
Yeah, just want to say a huge thanks to everybody who's a regular here. It really makes my height of my week, basically. It's fantastic to have this community, so thank you so much, and just watch this space for next year.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Great evening.
Yeah. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Bye.